It's been a busy week for the Red Foxes, playing 3 games in 6 days. Tonight they come home to face the Big Red of Cornell University here at the McCann Center, and all the action is coming your way next on Colony Sports. Colony Sports presents Marist College Basketball. Tonight's game is brought to you by Budweiser, distributed with pride by Duchess Beer in Poughkeepsie and Kingston. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Mid-Hudson Moving Storage on Fulton Street in Wappingers Falls. It's modern moving with old-fashioned care. E.F. Hutton, 80 Washington Street in Poughkeepsie. When E.F. Hutton speaks, the Hudson Valley listens. Taylor Rental on Route 55 Poughkeepsie and Route 9 Wappingers Falls. Things to rent for every event. Tyne Construction, 41 Red Oaks Mills Road, Poughkeepsie. It pays to call an expert. Mountain View Coach Lines in Poughkeepsie. For the best charter trips and rates, call Mountain View Coach Lines in Poughkeepsie. Avis Rent-A-Car and Trucks in Poughkeepsie and Newburgh. Avis tries harder, faster. Pauling Savings Bank, with locations in the Apple Valley Shopping Center and on Route 9, Fishkill. Pauling Savings Bank, the step-ahead bank. Rustler Steakhouse on Route 9, Poughkeepsie. You'll always get a value at Rustler. The Red Fox Club at Marist College. The Red Fox Club, who always follow the fox. Park Discount Beverages, Route 9, Hyde Park. At Park Discount Beverages, there's never an extra charge for cold beer. Terry Buick on the South Road across from the IBM Country Club. Terry Buick, people that people trust. Computerland of Dutchess County in the 9 Mall just down from Caldors on Route 9, Wappingers Falls. There's only one #1 in computer retailing. And by Friendly Pontiac, GMC Isuzu, 639 South Road, Route 9, Poughkeepsie. Friendly Pontiac, earning loyalty through satisfaction. Good evening from the McCann Center. This is Dean Darling along with Dick Quinn for Colony Sports. Tonight, the Marist College Red Foxes taking on the Big Red of Cornell University. Both teams come in off losing efforts. Cornell losing this past Wednesday night at home to Canisius by 17 points, and that ended Cornell Big Red's unbeaten streak at home of 17 games straight. And their record now at 4-6, while the Marist College Red Foxes lost Thursday night at LIU, a conference game, and their record now at 5-7. And Dick, it would seem to me both teams would be awful anxious for a win tonight.
Well, of course, Dean, each team likes to win each and every game. You're in a stage of the season right now. Cornell's waiting for the Ivy League action to get started, and that's where they'll be most competitive. They've played 5 teams already this year that when the game started, they didn't really have much of a chance to win. The Red Foxes, on the other hand, have had, as we know, a demanding preseason schedule, but now they're 3 games into the ECAC Metro. Matt Frajanic's preference would be, let's play all the league games, one right after another. We can keep up the concentration. We can keep up the good, solid effort. Not overlooking Cornell, but the Red Foxes might be a little bit down because this isn't a league game. They're itching to get back into the league contest because they played LIU so strong, as you said, and they want to get back with the games that they feel count towards the NCAA tournament. I think both teams will be hungry. A question mark for Cornell, number 34, Ken Bantam, their leading scorer. He's doubtful with a groin injury. We'll have to see if maybe the Big Red will come out with a different, maybe a holding tactic, much like St. Peter's did.
Who else do they like to go to?
Well, they also have a quick scoring guard, Bayes, Ivy League Rookie of the Year last year, and he netted 18 in the loss to Canisius, forced to pick up the scoring slack with Bantam getting the early injury. I look for Cornell to come out with man-to-man pressure, much like St. Peter's Monmouth mold. They're somewhere in between Monmouth and St. Peter's as far as their effectiveness in man-to-man pressure. That's a problem for the Red Foxes because that pretty much eliminates Steve Eggink offensively. We've noticed that he hasn't had a chance to create offensively against man-to-man defenses. That puts more of a load onto Mark Shamley and Drafton Davis. They have to score now. Both were not offensive factors in the game against Long Island University. Marist is playing basically with a 6-man lineup. Everybody's got to contribute a little bit. So I think tonight Shamley and Davis have got to pick up the scoring that Steve Eggink may not be able to give them.
Rick Smits has been on a tear of late. The last 3 games averaging 14 points a game. 8 rebounds and 6 block shots. He had 5 the other night against LIU. Looks like he's finally emerged as a big player for Marist in the future.
No question about it, Dean. It seemed that the first time Rick Smith saw Pat Ewing play on TV is when he really came into his own. On December 15th against Monmouth, he just took Monmouth out of the game from the opening whistle. He's been a factor, more than just scoring points and rebounds. As you said, he's creating a lot of havoc under the basket for the opposing teams. And when the Red Foxes are on offense, they have to sag back onto Rick Smith. That opens up the outside, and it gives Bruce Johnson a step on his man. But defensively, it allows the Red Foxes to put a little more pressure on the ball because they know the big guy's back there ready to swat it away if they get past the man out front.
Marist and Cornell from here at the McCann Center. When we come back, we'll be talking with Matt Projanek about what happened this past week and about the game tonight, coming up right after this break.
Showtime excitement in January. It's specials from Elvis Presley's Graceland to Sweeney Todd on Broadway. It's our own hit series like Brothers and Bazaar beginning its 5th outrageous season. It's family time. Quality programs for the whole family every weekday at 4, 3 Central. It's movies like Scarface, Sudden Impact, and Zelig. The excitement's on Showtime in January.
To get your Showtime excitement, call Cablevision to order today.
Welcome back to the pregame show. Dean Darling along with Matt Projanek. Matt, kind of up and down week. You went down there and you won a tough game in Loretto, Pennsylvania. Marist usually doesn't win when they go down there. Then you had a tough loss down at LIU. Your thoughts on both those games?
Well, Dean, I really don't look at it as an up and down week. We came out of this week so far with a very big win, which was St. Francis, Pennsylvania, away from home. Anytime you get a road win in our conference, it's important because I don't think anyone in our conference is going to go undefeated, number one. It's going to be either a 10-4 record, maybe 11-3 at best is going to come in first place. And it's like that every year. So you can come across with a couple road wins. They're key wins. Long Island, they're going to win their share of home games. And we played very well that game. It was a 4-point game at the end, and we had an opportunity to win it, but we missed a couple shots at the buzzer. So it was 2 games I thought our players played very well, and that's all I care about is really how they played. The score will take care of itself.
You're going against a pretty good defensive team, traditional man-to-man defense tonight. Your thoughts on the Cornell?
Well, Cornell's a pretty talented team. They have players like Drew Martin, who's an outstanding senior, swing player, about 6'4". Bujo's, I believe the guard's name is. He was Rookie of the Year last year in the Ivy League. They have Dean Kartsonis, who doesn't live too far from my house in Pittsburgh, and I've seen Dean play since he was in 8th grade, and he's one of the top shooters we'll face all year. So they're a very talented team, and it's going to be a key game for us because we want to be able to maintain some consistency and get a home win. And we get this home win, I think it'll give us some momentum going into the other games.
We just understand that their starter at center, Ken Banham, leading scorer, won't start tonight, won't play because of a groin pull. Sometimes that helps a team, though. They pull together.
Yeah, they do. Sometimes they play harder. You take a couple of the role players, the subs that will be playing for him tonight, they'll take it upon themselves to play harder, knowing the chore they have to do. So we have 3 players out, too. I've never used injuries as an excuse. That's why you have 10 or 11 players on a roster. One man, unless you're a Pat Ewing or something, I don't think it makes that much difference in the ball game. And I have a feeling anyway, Georgetown win quite a few games without Pat Ewing. So it's one of those things where, sometimes teams rise to the occasion.
How tough is it preparing your team only one day, really? Thursday night you had a game. Saturday night you got a game. You had Friday to practice.
Well, it is tough preparing a team because, number one, you can't rest at all. You can't go easy on them because knowing you have a tough game coming up. Number two, instead of working 2 or 3 days on what a team might do offensively or defensively, you only have 1 day to prepare for it. But Cornell's a pretty much a stereotype club. Tommy played under Bob Knight at West Point and coached under him at Indiana. And Tom will do a lot of things that Bob does on a court. He'll play tough man-for-man defense. He'll show patience on offense with a passing game. He has good shooters and tough kids. So, it'll be a tough game.
There's talk of possibly redshirting Miroslav Pekarski this year. Have you made a decision on that?
No, we haven't. We don't have to make one yet, Dean. We're going to really wait and see how his foot responds after treatment. But he won't be able to play till the 2nd week of February. And while we already talked to his dad, who was in Yugoslavia, mentioned to him, we have all support from his family. So we'll wait and see how it comes around when it comes out of the cast and how it responds to treatment.
Good luck against the Big Red.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Matt Projanek. And when we come back, we'll have the starting lineups tonight. Marist against Cornell here at the McCann Center. It's coming your way next on Colony Sports.
Where can you get a kind word?
You're such a pretty nurse, Frida.
some fun in the sun, a helping hand, even a breathtaking view. The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, Sundays at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific on USA.
We're just a couple minutes away from the opening tip-off. Marist and Cornell here at the McCann Center. Marist this year 2-3 at home. Overall 5-7. Cornell on the road at 1-2. Overall they're 4-6. As we mentioned, Marist coming off the loss to LIU 59-55. Stopped their 2-game win streak. That was a tough game, Dick. They scored only 6 points in the first 8 minutes, and you can't win ball games on the opponent's court when you score that few points in that short period of time.
That's true, Dean. Outside of the first 8 minutes, the Red Foxes did show that they can play LIU or anybody else in the ECAC Metro. Unfortunately, it's a 40-minute game. Also in that game, Rick Smits got off to a slow start, but once he got his feet wet, he played Kerry Scurry about as evenly as any Marist player has been able to do in the past. I think that was a confidence builder, even though it was a loss for the Red Foxes. I think now that they know that they can play LIU anytime, anywhere, and they'll be gunning for the February 9th rematch here, and hopefully the rubber match in the ECAC Metro Tournament Finals down in Baltimore.
One concern of Matt Perjanik is that his team is not shooting well from the field. They shot only 37% from the field against LIU. As a team going into this game, they shoot 46%, while Cornell very selective in their shots, hitting on 51% of their shots. They're also a good free throw shooting team, hitting on 73% of their shots. Cornell, again, at 4-6 coming in. They led Canisius 4-0 in the game the other night up at their home court, and after that they went dry for 9 minutes and did not score and found themselves behind by 14 at halftime to Canisius 28-14, and it was Ray Hall scoring 34 for Canisius to lead them to that win by 17 over the Big Red. Streaks, well, Marist has won 3 out of their last 5. Cornell has dropped 4 out of the last 5. The crowd applauding here. Rick Smith's parents have journeyed in from Holland to watch their son play tonight.
Talk about away games, Dino.
Of course, he's from Eindhoven, Holland, and it's great that they're here to see him just about this time when he's playing great basketball. Rich Stevens, the public address announcer, soon will be announcing the starting lineups. First of all, for Cornell, they'll be attired in their red uniforms. Starting at guard, number 32 will be John Bayes, sophomore, 6'1", 170 from Naperville, Illinois. Second leading scorer, 13-8 a game. Starting at the point guard position, number 12, Derek Williams, sophomore, 5'11", 170 from Alexandria, Virginia. Starting in replacement of Ken Banham, the center will be number 23, and that is Mike Mullane, a freshman, 6'6", 200 from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Starting at the other forward position, number 14, Len Palmer, junior, 6'5", 185, Staten Island, New York. And the forward, rounding out the starting 5, number 24, Drew Martin, 6'4", 195 from Staten Island, New York. Cornell coached by Tom Miller in his 5th year at Cornell, a record of 47 wins, 67 losses, 41% winning percentage. Now the Red Foxes of Marist College.
Here's the beef, Dean. Big discrepancy in height. The Red Foxes should control the boards, and we'll see if that'll be an early factor as it was against teams like Monmouth or St. Francis.
Starting at the guard position will be number 11, Bruce Johnson, senior, 5'11", 160 from Waterbury, Connecticut. Second on the team in scoring, 11-5 a game. Starting at the other guard position, number 42, Steve Egging, senior, 6'5", 205 from Eugene, Oregon. Leading scorer, 14-5 a game. At center, the 7'3" freshman, number 45, Rick Smits, 235-pounder from Eindhoven, Holland.
At one forward, a 6'6" sophomore from White Plains, New York, number 44.
At forward will be number 44, Mark Shamley, sophomore, 6'6", 190, White Plains, New York. 5th leading scorer, 8.8 a game, and rounding out the starting 5, number 40, Ted Taylor, senior, 6'8", 220 from Malvern, New York. Leading rebounder on the team, 10-3 a game. And Marist College coached by Matt Perjanik. You see him there with assistant coach Jim Todd. Matt in his 6th year of coaching with a record of 78 wins and 78 losses.
The officials tonight, John Cahill and Tim Wendt. So let's take a look at those starting lineups once again. As you see the officials listed on your screen, Wendt along with Cahill. Cornell starting Williams and Bayes in the backcourt. They'll go with Palmer and Martin on the front line, and at center will be number 23, Mike Mullane, in replacement of the injured Ken Banham, a severe injury to Cornell. He's the leading scorer at 20 a game. Again, for those Marist College Red Foxes, the guards manned by Johnson and Egging, the center being Smits, and the forwards, Taylor and Shamley. Nice to have you along on Colony Sports. Dean Darling along with Dick Quinn bringing you tonight's action. We'll be back with you on Wednesday night when Marist will be at home to host Fairleigh Dickinson University in an ECAC Metro Conference game. Airtime 11 o'clock here on Channel 10. It'll be Tim Wendt to throw the ball up. Jumping, number 14, Palmer going against Taylor, and Cornell has it moving from left to right to start the action. Marist setting right out in the zone defense.
3-2 zone, Dean, instead of the normal 2-3 zone for the Red Foxes.
Derek Williams will be the quarterback of the team tonight. He's number 12. Number 24 is Drew Martin. There with the ball 14 is Len Palmer. And John Bayes, who has led the team in scoring the last 2 games. Drew Martin drawing the foul as the basket will count. Shamley is called on the foul. Good inside move that time, and the basket going down.
Dean, one of the problems I have with that call, not that it was or wasn't a foul, but the official that called it was Tim Wendt. He must have called that from 35 feet away. The other official right on the baseline, he didn't see any foul.
You're starting already?
Is it any wonder that coaches like Matt Verjanik are losing their hair?
30 seconds we played. N.R.A. Quinn's on the official, and already Cornell takes a 3-0 lead as Bayes hits the field goal and the free throw. Bayes, an excellent free throw shooter, 77%. 3-0 the Big Red over the Red Foxes. Bruce Johnson for Marist. He'll team in the backcourt with Egging. Shamley comes up to meet it. Man defense used by the Big Red, and that's what they'll go with from here to the end. Taylor squaring from 15. And bringing it down is Mike Mullane for Cornell. Cornell will play that deliberate style offensive basketball. Work it until you find the good shot. There's the good shot. Taken there by Bayes, and it's 5-0 Cornell.
He's an excellent outside shooter, Dean. He's also a very, very good ball handler for a scoring guard. He could probably play point in a pinch.
Shamley for Taylor. Taylor, 13 points, 17 rebounds against LIU Thursday night. Foul call, 32, Bayes on the hold. Non-shooting situation, so Marist will be inbounding.
Dean, we have to look and see if Mark Shamley's going to get more involved with the Red Fox offense. He's been in a slump for the past 2 or 3 games. Against a team that plays pressure man-to-man, he's an important cog in the Red Fox offense.
He's only averaging 2 points in the last 2 games, and his rebounding's down as well, 3.5 a game. Shamley. Johnson working off the screen. It's got to feel good when you hit your first shot of the night as the streamers come pouring out of the stands. 5-2 now the score. Cornell up by 3. Colony Sports bringing you tonight's game. And Dick, Marist was patient that time down and took a good shot.
Well, that's what they have to do to get into the rhythm, get all the players involved. The early part of the game, some coaches demand that their team let everybody handle the ball once. Make sure everybody's in the game, the concentration is right, and then work it around because they have the height advantage. Make sure that when they shoot, the men are in position to rebound also in case there's a miss.
I'd like to welcome our latest sponsor to Colony Sports, Friendly Pontiac. They're bringing you tonight's game in part. GMC Zuzu, 639 South Road, Route 9, Poughkeepsie. Come in now and save $500 on 1985 Pontiac Fieros in stock. Here's Shamley ahead of the field as he lost possession of the ball, and it's a turnover on Marist as they average 14 a game in that category. Friendly Pontiac, earning loyalty through satisfaction. 5-2 the score. We played 2 minutes into the first half. Cornell leading. Faking the jumper there was Palmer. Derek Williams looking for Bayes. Instead, he'll fire off to number 24, Drew Martin. This is Len Palmer. Palmer sat out the first 5 games this season because of academics, rejoining the team in the Rainbow Classic in Hawaii. has started every game since then.
Showed good judgment on where to join the team.
Very smart. Derek Williams. Marist stays in the zone. Shamley out front. Smits moving out of that zone. Cornell would like to draw him away from the basket. Matt Perjanik said Cornell is a very tough opponent for us right now because of their excellent defense. They also shoot the ball well, 51% from the field. There's another one going down from Drew Martin. His second field goal tonight, along with the free throw, he has 5 points. 7-2 Cornell. Shamley left wing, Smits up top. Egink, bad pass, and it is ripped off by Mullane. Bayes, the sophomore from Illinois, last year Rookie of the Year in the Ivy League. This year, second leading scorer, 13-8 a game. Bayes telling the quarterback, Derek Williams, to go up top. We have played 3.5 minutes, 7-2. Cornell leading over Marist. They definitely take the air out of the basketball, don't they, Dick?
Well, they have no choice, Dean, because their leading scorer and best rebounder, Ken Bantham, is out. So they know that they're probably only going to get one shot, and they want to maximize that shot.
But the shots they have taken tonight have been at least from 20 feet.
Yes, Steve, but it's the guys that can hit the shot. It's
right.
the good shooters, and they're open. There hasn't been a lot of pressure on the shot. When you're open and you're a good shooter, you get the rhythm, it's a basket.
And Drew Martin hits another one, and Matt Perjanik wants to sit his team down and talk to him. 9-2, Cornell taking the quick lead with 15:45 left first half. We'll be back after this break.
Late-breaking local news. Exciting local sports. Your television source for the day's events. The Cable 6 Nightly Report. 30 minutes of the local stories that shape your life. 6:30, 7:30, 8:30.
Do you have a home in your headset?
The Marist College cheerleaders on the court. Tonight's game being brought to you by Budweiser, distributed with pride by Duchess Beer in Poughkeepsie and Kingston. For all you do, this Bud's for you. And by Mid-Hudson Moving and Storage on Fulton Street in Wappingers Falls. Call Ron Dennis at 298-8701 and set up your next move. It's modern moving with old-fashioned care. Dean Darling, Dick Quinn, and our replacement statistician tonight, Mike Twilliger, with us. Ken McMillan is out, but should be back with us next time around. And then next time around will be Wednesday night, January 16th, when Marist will be entertaining Fairleigh Dickinson University. Airtime here on Channel 10 will be at 11 o'clock. Then you can see it again Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Bruce Johnson with Egink on the left wing. Drafton Davis into the game, adding more quickness for Matt Perjanik's team. Smits working low. Taylor averaging 13 rebounds a game in his last 4. Egink is called for steps. Good call by John Cahill.
Dean, we played almost 5 minutes, and Rick Smits has handled the ball once in an offensive area. Red Foxes have got to come up with a way to get the ball inside to the big guy so he can use his height advantage.
As we mentioned in our opening, Smits averaging 14 a game in his last 3 games. And if you got somebody that big in the middle that can shoot, you got to give the ball to him. And Marist hasn't done that in the outset. 15 minutes, 10 seconds remaining. First half, 9-2, Cornell leading. And Cornell has scored all but 3 of its points from the outside.
Matt Perjanik has taken out Steve Egink in favor of Drafton Davis. He's going to go with the quick pressing unit now.
The tap by Mullane, missed it. Smits in his 28th block of the year. Bruce Johnson, and you know Perjanik told him to be patient on offense when they came down because Johnson held up. Davis and Johnson both in shooting slumps. Both shooting 38% from the field. There's the feed to Smits, who is tied up, and they call it a jump ball, alternate possession going Marist's way. Big guy got the elbows going that time.
Well, he wants to let the Big Red know that he's out there and that he's going to protect his space.
Drafton Davis. Davis with a woeful game against LIU. Shot 1 of 8 from the field. Bruce Johnson shot 2 of 9, but Bruce comes through for his second field goal. 9-4, Cornell by 5.
I think Bruce likes to shoot in the McCann Center a lot better than he does now at the old Paramount Theater.
Davis all over Derek Williams. Johnson jumping out in the double team. Drew Martin. One guy that Matt Krajanic was concerned about, Drew Martin. He says he is a good wing player. Shamley staying all over Len Palmer. Derek Williams, who was primarily a sixth man last year, saw action in 22 games, moved up to starter this season. Again, Cornell playing without their leading scorer, Ken Banham, but starting out well here in the first half. 6.5 minutes gone by. Cornell 9, Marist 4. Marist forced the man defense by getting down early. Ball tipped away by Taylor out of bounds, and it will be the Big Red to control right at their hoop. Marist playing their third game in 6 days, and then they have to go up to Boston. They leave tomorrow to play BU Monday night up in Beantown. Then they return and play Wednesday night at home here against Fairleigh Dickinson University. Tough schedule for the Red Foxes here in the last few days. Moving inside is Drew Martin. It is off his knee. No, they say off Shamley's knee and out of bounds. So again, Cornell controls. They've had the ball now for the last minute and a half.
Gets awful tough to play defense minute after minute, Dean. And what the Big Red hopes to do now is get the Red Foxes tired of playing defense. Somebody will cut free for the easy layup.
Cornell coming off a 16-10 year. That was their first winning season in 16 years. Getting ahead of steam up was Palmer as he gives it off to Martin. Martin hits and he's fouled and the basket counts. Drafton Davis along with Smits were both inside, and they call Smits on the personal foul. Second team foul assessed against Marist. And going back to the free throw line is Drew Martin. Martin with 4 field goals and a free throw, 9 points already. He has 9 out of Cornell's 11 points.
This would be a game for his scrapbook. Rick Smits doesn't have to jump against a player of Martin's size. He can stand there and reject that. Had he stayed on his feet, it wouldn't be a three-point play.
Marist will have to learn not to foul Martin, second best free throw shooter on the team, 80%. Johnson with the hip-de-doo move, now off for Davis. Egging has really been taken out of the offense for the Marist team. Loose ball again, picked up there by number 25, and that is Rusty Cooper. Cooper has seen action in the last few games. 9 minutes against Canisius Wednesday night. Davis ball hawking, reaching in. Davis second on the team in steals to Bruce Johnson. Here's Palmer. And I'm still looking up.
When the ball's bouncing your way, Dean, that has to go in. Cooper has something in his sock. He must think he's Doug Flutie Jr.
Chew it tobacco. Johnson. He's the only guy hitting for Marist when they come down and get the shot up. They've been turning the ball over too many times on the offensive end. Cooper backing in against Davis. And finally they call against Bruce, Drafton Davis, rather. Some of the Red Fox crowd does not like that call made by John Cahill. There's Drafton Davis, the freshman from New York City. Davis not playing that well in the last few games for Marist after starting out on a tear. Now Williams comes in, and out comes Rusty Cooper. Tom Miller takes him aside and speaks with him. Ball to be inbounded in front of the Marist bench. 14-6 the score, and it is the hometown Red Foxes trailing Cornell. First time these two teams have ever met. Now they call Bruce Johnson on a foul. So Marist getting frustrated by not getting their hands on the ball, and they've resorted to a couple personal fouls in the last few seconds.
That's the type of thing that happens when a team holds the ball, Dean. You get frustrated, you get tired of playing defense. Also, it takes the Red Foxes out of their offensive game. They get this urge that they have to get down and get the ball in the basket in a hurry.
Marist going with their starters of Davis out there now, along with Johnson, Egging, Smits, Taylor, Johnson. Bayes looking for the good shot. Have they missed yet, Dick?
Oh, they've missed a couple, Dean.
Bayes hitting another field goal attempt.
But see, they're playing with confidence now, because when they came out on the court and saw Rick Smits, they're thinking, we're in trouble. But all of a sudden, they throw him up in the air, and they're bouncing him in, they're swishing him in. They feel they can do no wrong, and it's going to take a string by the Red Foxes to get back in this game.
Bad shot by Egging. He's calling for the foul. Looked like he just didn't get it near the net. 16-6, Cornell by 10. Bayes working against Johnson. We played 9.5 minutes in the first half. Mike Fielder will be checking in on the next horn. Bayes going inside. Smits had it, lost it, Johnson. Johnson has been Marist's offense. He has all 6 points, looking for 8. The basket will count, and he's fouled.
I guess Scooby figures that there's not much sense in passing off, but due to all the Red Fox turnovers, he's going to take it himself.
Might as well. Scooby Johnson with all of Marist's 8 points. Tonight's game is being brought to you by the Red Fox Club at Marist College. Sign up today and become a Red Fox Club member. The Red Fox Club, who always follow the Fox. And by Mountain View Coach Lines in Poughkeepsie. For the best charter trips and rates, call Mountain View Coach Lines here in Poughkeepsie. Johnson hits, as he's an 85% shooter from the free throw line. Johnson now has Marist's 9 points. 16-9 to score. Cornell by 7. Bayes behind the move, behind the back with a nifty move. This is Martin. Martin shoots from the right, he shoots from the left, he goes inside.
This is obviously his night, Dean.
Martin now with 12 points, 5 field goals and a couple free throws. Wolfgang Florin has checked into the Cornell lineup, and that's him knocking the ball away. And coming up with it is Drew Martin. Tom Miller says, now let's just slow it down when we get to the offensive half. Davis out to beat Williams. Good matchup there, a lot of quickness. Wolfgang Florin, he's a freshman. Now for Bayes. Taylor's skying, he couldn't bring it down. Florin had it rejected by Taylor. Shot taken and put in there by number 30 into the game, Dean Kartsotis. It was an original starter early in the season. In fact, he scored 18 against the Orange of Syracuse, second game of the season. Taylor was stripped going up in the foul call on Drew Martin. Nine minutes and 3 seconds remaining here in the first half. Cornell 20, Marist 9. Tonight's game being brought to you by Computer Land of Dutchess County in the 9 Mall, just down from Caldors on Route 9, Wappingers Falls. Stop in and see Dan Bear and his staff of experts for the best computer suited for your needs. Computer Land of Dutchess County on Route 9, Wappingers Falls. Tom Miller of Cornell wants to take a timeout. 9:03 remaining first half. Cornell 20, Marist 9. We'll be back after this.
On MTV, you've seen your favorite bands first. That's why we name them World Premiere Videos. David Bowie, Def Leppard, Fleetwood Mac, Duran Duran, and the list keeps going. Stray Cats, Stevie Nicks, The Who, The Police, The Rolling Stones, Jackson Browne, Loverboy, Asia, Billy Joel, and there's always another one coming. World Premiere Videos, exclusively on MTV Music Television.
Matt Perjanik working feverishly in his huddle as his team trails by 11 points as Cornell took the quick lead and never looked back. This Cornell team really impresses me, Dick.
I think, Dean, what Matt wants to do is get more people involved in the offense. Don't rush it. There's still 29 minutes and 3 seconds to go in the game. Work the ball inside, get it to Smits, get it to Taylor, let them use their height and strength.
Ted Taylor We've mentioned many times, not that good a free throw shooter, 58%, but he's hit 10 out of his last 13, Dick.
He's a streaky foul shooter. He's still on the streak.
He is on a streak. So now 11 of 14 for Ted Taylor. Probably every time he makes one, it goes up 1 percentage point.
First point scored by the Red Foxes, not in Bruce Johnson's column.
Right, 20-10. Taylor's second one, short, Smits. Is that what you call the friendly roll?
Well, that's the home court advantage right there.
Now Marist resorting to a full court press. Kartsotis for Drew Martin. Shamley playing on him. Bayes saves it on the sideline. 20-12, Cornell by 8. Bayes looking for his shot. John Bayes, 3 field goals and 6 points. It has been the Bayes and Martin show. Martin with 12, Bayes with 6.
That time, referee Tim Wendt blew his whistle and warned the Cornell players to not hit the ball after it goes through the basket. What they hope to accomplish by that is to slow down the Red Foxes, get back, set up their defense.
Taylor in traffic. Taylor, and there's the 5-second call. Nobody would move to the aid of Teddy Taylor, and he was knotted up, no place to go with the ball.
The Red Foxes have a lot of trouble with a pressure man-to-man defense. What it forces them to do is it forces Taylor and Smits to handle the ball a lot and not in the scoring area. That is a weakness that the Red Foxes have. They need to get the ball to Johnson and Davis and let them run the offense.
John Bayes, again, he was the Ivy League Rookie of the Year last year. Hits for his 4th field goal and 8 points. Bayes has been on fire of late, double figures his last 4 games. He's been averaging 17 a game in his last 4. Johnson, pretty move.
Bruce Johnson got the first step. There was no room on the left side of the basket. Carried it by and laid it back over with his right hand. Beautiful move by Bruce.
Cornell 24, Marist 14. Shamley working against Martin. Wolfgang Florin, a tremendous basketball name. Martin stripped, but it's touching the end line, says Tim Wendt.
The old Globetrotter move by Martin. He put the ball behind Mark Shamley's head as though he had passed it. When Mark turned to look for the ball, he went by him.
Bayes looking for the shot again. Kartsotis bumping with Taylor. Derek Williams touching up. Davis playing the man D. Williams for Kartsotis. As Smits came over on the weak side to help out, and they have the call against Rick Smits. So Smits picks up his 2nd personal foul. For Marist, that's their 15th. And tonight's game being brought to you by Friendly Pontiac, GMC Isuzu, 639 South Road, Route 9 Poughkeepsie. Come on in now and save $500 on 1985 Pontiac Fieros in stock. America's first and only mid-engine production car. Friendly Pontiac, earning loyalty through satisfaction. And you can check your Sunday Poughkeepsie Journal for this special. Kartsotis making it 25-14. On the year, Kartsotis shoots 81% from the line as he leads the team in that category. 26-14 with under 7 minutes remaining in the opening half. Cornell in the 12-point lead. Davis here near us on the left wing. They set Smits up on the high post. They really should be feeding off to Johnson. He's the hot man. He's got 9 points. Shamley. Davis. There's Shamley. That's his shot. Good technique on that shot.
Good technique, but the important thing is now the Red Foxes are moving to the ball. If you stand around, it doesn't take a great defense to stop that type of offense.
Egan coming in on the next horn. Martin going inside, draws the foul. Good penetration move there by Drew Martin, the junior from Staten Island, New York, who averages just 10 a game. He's already eclipsed his average as he has 12 points. 16 foul on Marist. Foul goes on number 44, Mark Shamley. So Martin, as we warned you earlier, a great free throw shooter, 80%. Got a brother playing at nearby Cortland State. He plays 35 minutes a game, so you're going to see him in there quite a bit tonight. Martin hitting the first one, 27-16, Cornell leading. And the second one drops through. So Marist with Egging, Johnson, Davis, Shamley, and Taylor out there. Marist going from right to left, looking for their third win of the year here at home. Taylor, nice move. Ted Taylor, averaging 10.9 a game, scoring his first of the night. Full court pressure. Johnson looking for that steal as he leads the team with 33. Drew Martin along with Palmer, Williams, Kartsonis, and Bayes, the 5 for Cornell, presently on the court. Nice passing. Shot rejected by Shamley, saved by Egging. 5.5 minutes remaining, first half. Johnson hauls it out. Egging will take it from there. Kartsonis scrambling for the ball and throws it out of bounds off the leg of Johnson.
That time, Mark Shamley had perfect rebounding position, just couldn't hang on to the ball.
Again, Marist resorting to full court pressure on the inbounds. Kartsonis has it. Tom Miller, again in his 5th year at Cornell, played for Bobby Knight at Army, played with Duke's head coach Mike Krzyzewski. Egging scrambling, and then he is bear hugged by Martin, and on the alternate possession, it will go Cornell's way.
Steve Egging, I think, may have not have realized that if there was a jump ball on a play like that, that the Red Foxes would lose the ball.
There's a view of both coaches working. One down on a squat position, the other up signaling. Tom Miller, who learned his basketball under Bobby Knight when he played at Army, then he coached with Knight from 75 to 80. He was part of that coaching team that won the national championship in 76 at Indiana. Bayes, Kartsonis. Charge.
Good position by Drafton Davis there, drawing the charge.
Tonight's game being brought to you by E.F. Hutton, 80 Washington Street in Poughkeepsie. For financial advice, you can call 485-2804. When E.F. Hutton speaks, the Hudson Valley listens. 4.5 minutes remaining, first half. Marist trails by 10 to the Big Red of Cornell University. Shamley working inside. Instead of pulling up with a jumper, he saw the space and he went back for it.
Good strong move. Mark is bigger and stronger than any of the Cornell players out there. He used that to his advantage. Just go right to the hoop. Let him hit him. Okay, he feels he's strong enough to lay it off the glass and go to the line for 3.
Cornell 28, Marist 20. Martin for Bayes. You might hear Tom Miller across our microphones as he is positioned directly to our left.
It's an important possession here now, Dean.
And they have a foul call out front, as heading to the basket was Lem Palmer. He was held by Ted Taylor. Marist over the 17 foul situation, so Cornell shoots the 1-and-1. We told you they're a good free throw shooting team, 73% as a team, while Marist shoots 67%.
With the Cornell lead down to 8 now and slightly under 4 minutes to go in the half. The reason this is an important possession because you don't like to go into the half down 10. With a team that's going to hold the ball the way Cornell is, if the Red Foxes could get a run of 2 straight baskets, then they can start to get back some of the confidence. Then Cornell's got to start to wonder, are we slipping a little bit? Because in the back of their minds, they know they're not as big and as fast as the Red Foxes. They've got to stay ahead.
Palmer hitting 2 as Mike Fielder has come in. Fielder averages 9 minutes a game, now playing in his 7th of the season. 30-20, 10-point lead enjoyed by the Big Red with 3 minutes and 38 seconds remaining here in the first 20 minutes. Dean Darling and Dick Quinn on Quality Sports. Davis, nice move inside. And the crowd here at the McCann Center will especially not like this call from John Cahill.
Well, they're not wild about that call. Called a foul on Mike Fielder, but the call that they didn't like was the one that he didn't make. They felt the Drafton Davis shot had been, deflected on the way down, which would be goaltending.
We just saw some of the Red Fox crowd here at the McCann Center. Marist in its first 5 games, drawing 10,521 fans, averaging 2,142. They're up 32% from last year's attendance figure of 5-game total. Carsona's shooting the free throws, 1-on-1 situation. Again, best free throw shooter on the team, 81%. 31-20, Cornell. Derek Williams coming back in. Carsonas comes out. So for the Big Red right now, they've got Williams, Bayes, Palmer, Martin, and Mullane. Davis for Marist, Taylor, along with Shamley, Egging, and Fielder. Steve Egging's first one of the night. Egging, leading scorer on the team, averaging 14.5 a game. His last 3 games, he's averaged 17.7. He's got a long ways to go tonight. That's only his first basket. Fielder playing the D on Williams. Under 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Egging jumping out on the D against Martin.
Cornell's going into a definite delay game now. They're hoping to just spring somebody open for the wide open layup. They'd be content with a 10-point lead at the half, 12 or 16 if they can get it, but why force it? They're controlling the tempo. They have the confidence and the momentum.
Bayes. Perjanik will be sending Johnson in on the next horn. Bayes brings it out to his point guard, Derek Williams, who's from Alexandria, Virginia. 2 minutes, 10 seconds remaining now in the first half action. 32-22 the score, and Cornell has the 10-point lead. Coming out to meet it is Mullane. Marist in the man defense. Rich Stevens, the PA announcer, saying 2 minutes left in the first half. Matt Perjanik wanted the palm. And no, they call it Ted Taylor on the reach in, and now a technical foul. Technical foul on Ted Taylor. Matt Perjanik is screaming at Tim Wendt. Did you see him there? Taylor picking up the personal foul. And for Taylor, that's his second of the evening. Shooting the technical will be Len Palmer. Now check that. He'll shoot the free throw first, as that's what occurred first. Cooper now checking in. It's a 1-on-1 situation, so Palmer will get the free one. There it is. 34-22. And now they'll send Bayes up to shoot the technical. I think I would have kept Palmer at the line.
Well, you can't get better than dead center, Dean. You put both of them right in the middle of the basket.
As all this is going on, the crowd is cheering and booing in the background.
That's our little conversation there, Dean, about how we would have left Palmer there to shoot. That's one reason why fans can't coach a team, okay? The coach is with the players game after game, day after day. He knows who should be able to do the job at the right time. Now, a fan will say, geez, I was here last week and I saw so-and-so play a great game. He doesn't see him every day.
Here's Davis on the steal. Full court pressure again by the Red Foxes. Cooper isn't all that good a ball handler, so he gets rid of it. Minute and a half remaining in the first half. 35-24, the Big Red over the Red Foxes. Egging is really no match for Palmer. Bayes. Now Egging working against Barton. Under a minute remaining. And there's the foul call by John Cale as Bayes knocked over Bruce Johnson. See if he calls player control. He will, so it's a non-shooting situation.
On that sequence, Matt Verjanik was screaming for the offensive foul. There was contact a couple times there. If they hadn't have called that one a charge, I think Matt Verjanik would have been all over the referees.
Tonight's game being brought to you by the Taylor Rental Center, Route 55 Poughkeepsie. Call 471-2486, and they're also located on Route 9 Wabages Falls. Call 298-8880. Things to rent for every event. There's Matt Verjanik. That really cost them there. That's a throwaway on the Marist part.
Just a lack of communication between Davis and Taylor.
Smits is now taken out as he just got back in. 40 seconds remaining. First half. Cornell with the ball and the lead of 11 points.
Still hold for one, Dean.
Sure. They've been holding the whole first half. For holding the ball as much as they have, though, they have 35 points on the board. They've made the most of every opportunity.
Well, they've got to be hitting about 65% from the floor.
Deal by Johnson. He does not get the roll, but a foul call.
The play we haven't seen in a long time, Dean, is when a man has a step to the basket, almost a breakaway, but not quite a breakaway. It used to be in the old days when you were playing, back when they first put air in the ball, the guy would drive in, stop, and put the ball up and draw the contact from behind. You don't see that anymore. I guess the slam dunk has eliminated that from me. On a play like that, Bruce Johnson should get it in, make sure he gets the 2 points, and then hopefully get the 3 points. Get the 2.
Dick, what was it like when you used to have to climb up the ladder and take the ball out of the basket?
It was
apple
tough.
basket.
It was tough. That was the peach basket.
See, you did correct me.
But after a while, you get used to climbing up there all the time.
35-24. Johnson hitting the second. Johnson now with 12 points, and here's a travel on Derek Williams.
Important now because the Red Foxes can establish a little bit of momentum going into the half now. Rick Smits comes in, a strategic move. Hopefully, if the shot is missed, he'll be able to tip it in.
6 seconds remaining in the first half. Cornell 35, Marist 25. Like you mentioned, Dick, a big possession if Marist could can one here at the buzzer. With Davis and Cooper now pushing. Tom Miller asking for a technical foul on Davis. Matt Verjanik has his arms crossed watching the proceedings.
I don't think we'll see Drafton Davis and Cooper going out for a bite after this game.
For pizza. Ball inbounded to Egging. Egging, 4 seconds left. The jumper, no good. Tip, good.
I think that was Bruce Johnson, Dean.
The little guy goes in the paint and tips it home at the buzzer.
See, on a play like that at the end of the half or at the end of the game, everybody's got to go to the basket. You don't have to worry about the Cornell getting the rebound and scooting down court. So play that till the horn goes off, and Scooby did.
You see Miroslav Pokarski limping off to the locker room, and Matt Verjanik pulled his team within 8 points, 35-27 here at the halftime. Apropos, right, Dick, for Johnson to get inside there. He's been the guy really playing the first half for Marist and tipping it home.
Matt Verjanik conducting a little referees clinic here on the way to the locker rooms, showing good composure, but just reminding them that the calls haven't been going the way Matt would like to see him, and if they need any help, just look his way and he'll give them the call.
We're at the half, 35-27, Cornell leading, as they did all of the first half. And when we come back, we'll update you on the halftime statistics right after this break.
Start the new year with HBO in January. Clint Eastwood stars in Sudden Impact, and Al Pacino is Scarface. See David Keith and Malcolm McDowell in Gulag, an original HBO premiere film. All this plus the zany Brain Games and Elvis, One Night with Me. HBO in January.
To order HBO, call Cablevision today.
We're back here at the McCann Center just about a minute before the second half commences. And surprisingly enough, Marist out shooting Cornell in the first half from the field. Marist shooting 71%. Cornell is shooting 69%. Let's take a look at the halftime statistics. First of all, for Cornell, they were led in scoring, as you see, by Drew Martin, 5 of 5 from the field, 4 of 4 from the line. He's perfect, 14 points to lead the Cornell team in scoring.
Sound like his mother, Dean.
Really? And Len Palmer had 6 points. John Bayes had 9 points, and Dean Cartsonas had a total of 6 points. There you see the fouls up. Williams with 2 and Bayes with 2. Now for the Marist College Red Foxes, as we mentioned, as a team shooting 71% from the field in the first half. Johnson leading Marist in scoring with 14 points. He too perfect from the field, 6 of 6, and he was 2 of 3 from the line for a total of 14. After that, it diminishes. Shamley with 4, Taylor with 3, Smits and Eggink with 2. Fielder also did not score. Davis had 2 for Marist. As a team, Cornell shooting 13 of 13 from the line, Dick, and that's really where most games lie when you come down to the final minutes, and you got a good free throw shooting team canning their free throws, and this team looks like they can hit them throughout the 40 minutes.
Well, they are a good foul shooting team, Dean. I think the reason they have had 13 opportunities and the Red Foxes have only had 5 is because they're playing their game. They're getting the ball underneath, and the Red Foxes are frustrated, and they're going for the block, the rejection.
Goes behind the net, watched by...
And they're fouling, and they're going to the line and converting. Taylor and Smits have had 2 shots between them. Marist isn't going to win any games with those guys having 2 shots and a half.
That is so true. We'd like to announce, Colony Sports announcing, that we will carry the Marist-Loyola game live next Saturday night, January 19th, from Baltimore, Maryland. Airtime here on Channel 10 at 7:30. The first ever live Marist basketball telecast from Baltimore, Maryland. Marist traveling down to take on Loyola, and that is Saturday, January 19th. Airtime 7:30 here on Channel 10. Shamley bumping heads there with Palmer, and they say Shamley touched it last. Cornell moves from right to left to start the second half as they call for the ball boy to come out and wipe up some perspiration. The attendance tonight just over 2,007, and that's a good crowd.
When you consider that the students are still on break, Dean, that's an outstanding crowd. And the fans showing their appreciation of the Red Foxes. They're playing well. They had troubles in the first half, but this game isn't over. Unfortunately, the Red Foxes turned the ball over on their first possession. First 4 or 5 minutes of this half, Cornell returning the favor as we speak, are important because 8 points against a ball control team is a big lead.
Cornell turning the ball over for the 6th time tonight. Marist has 9 miscues. Johnson, 14 points in the first half for Shamley. Wouldn't roll home. Save there by Palmer. So Cornell now going with Williams at the guard and Bayes. Front line they have Mullane, Palmer, along with Drew Martin. This is Derek Williams, quarterback of the team. That's Palmer, played by Taylor. Marist in the man defense. 35-27, that's the way we were at halftime. Bayes pumping. Derek Williams taking the shot. Ball came down and surprised Johnson. Taylor outletting for Drafton Davis. Davis starting here in the second half. Did not start tonight. He's in there instead of Egging. Shamley has it, looking for Smits. Knocked back to Shamley. Has the next one blocked, but a foul on Palmer. Again, they're trying to get it inside to Smits. And Smits coming off 3 excellent performances in the last 3 games.
Dean, I think tonight, instead of bouncing the ball into Rick Smits, it would be better to lob it into Rick Smits.
Marist has a 4-inch height advantage per man over the Big Red of Cornell.
If you notice under the basket now, Rick Smits is back at the defensive end for Marist. And the reason for that is he's back now because they're going to go with pressure defense. Mark Shamley makes the second shot. You'll see the Red Foxes pressing. Rick Smits will be the last line of defense if Cornell breaks the pressure.
Shamley's second one rolls home. So Shamley has 2 on the board now for Marist. 35-29, full court pressure by the Foxes. Mullane for Palmer. Taylor jumping out against Bayes. Taylor leaves him alone, so Bayes takes it. John Bayes lights it up from outside.
Teddy Taylor or whoever is closest to Bayes has the pressure. He's just too hot to be left alone like that.
Shot 4 of 5 in the first half. Johnson off the mark. Foul on Shamley, crawling up the back of Martin. Matt Virginik says, how can you make that call from where you were while John Cahill, the guy that was right in front of the alleged foul, never blew the whistle?
You see, Matty's been listening to me. I agree with him. I also think it was a silly foul by Mark Shamley. He knew he didn't have position. Let it go. Get back, play the good, tough defense.
Derek Williams comes out of the game. Rusty Cooper comes in. Cooper and Davis exchanged elbows late in the first half. We'll see if anything develops there. Here's Bayes beating the press. He'll take the soft pop.
Had to put a little extra arc on that one, Dean, because he knew Rick Smits was coming out. A heady ball player, John Bayes. I'm impressed.
Bayes setting the record for most points scored by a freshman last year, 279. This year, second leading scorer, 13.8 average. Been in double figures 7 times. Taylor forcing and bringing down the rebound is Drew Martin at 6'4", playing a big guy's role. Again, Cornell without their leading scorer and one of their tri-captains, Ken Bantam, out with a groin injury. Davis trying to check it away from Bayes, and Bayes throws it off the arm of Davis out of bounds. Tonight's game being brought to you by Friendly Pontiac, GMC Isuzu, 639 South Road, Route 9, Poughkeepsie. Come on in now and save $500 on 1985 Pontiac Fieros in stock. America's first and only mid-engine production car. Friendly Pontiac, earning loyalty through satisfaction. And you can check Sunday's Poughkeepsie Journal for this tremendous value. Cooper barks out signals as he tucks the ball away in his left arm. Bayes with Johnson ball hawking. They go down low to Martin, but it went off his toe and out of bounds, and Marist has it.
Uncharacteristic of the Big Reds' efforts tonight. I think Martin was too busy trying to get free of Teddy Taylor and just couldn't get both hands on the pass.
Cornell has turned it over twice here in the second half. 3 minutes gone by into the second half. 39-29, 10-point lead by the Big Red. Taylor freeing up, and then he had it knocked away, and they're going to call Rusty Cooper on the foul.
See, Dean, Bruce Johnson lobbed the pass into Teddy Taylor. Much more effective against a smaller team than the bounce pass. Once you throw it down on the floor, then the little guy's got an advantage of getting at it.
Matt Virginik coaching. And Shamley was so surprised by it, he never got the right handle. Somebody left Shamley all alone. Mullane. Good pass to Martin. Martin throws it up too hard, intimidated there by Shamley. Johnson brings it down, working against Cooper. Shamley working in on Palmer, and he draws the foul. So Marist now looking to force inside, get the good shot. Tim Wendt makes that foul call. Here comes Dean Kartsonis into the game. Kartsonis was at the free throw line frequently in the first half, hitting 4 of 4, along with 1 field goal, so he had 6 first half points coming off the bench. Out comes Mark Mullane. Shamley this year, struggling at the free throw line, 59% accuracy. Makes that one. Last year he shot 60% at the line.
Dean, as we mentioned in the St. Peter's game, in a ball control game, foul shots are doubly important.
Shamley has hit all 3 before that. So we have a lane violation.
I think they got Mr. Martin sneaking in.
So Shamley gets another try. And he doesn't cash in. Bayes sneaks in to get the rebound. 39-30, Cornell leading Marist. Here at the McCann Center, Shamley going for the steal, got it caught up in his feet, kicked it out of bounds. Good hustle by Mark Shamley. Tonight's game is being brought to you by Budweiser, distributed with pride by Duchess Beer in Poughkeepsie and Kingston. For all you do, this Bud's for you. 4 minutes gone by, second half, 39-30, Cornell. Chambly playing D on Martin. Martin had 14 in the first half. Bayes for Florin. He gets it to Martin, and Martin draws the foul. 44, Mark Chambly. Going up on the shot, says Tim Wynn. So Martin goes to the line to shoot 2. Martin was perfect at the line in the first half, 4 of 4.
It's Mark Chambly's 4th foul. Had he stayed on his feet, he could play Martin evenly because he's bigger than Martin. He jumps higher than Martin. Should make Martin prove himself by trying to go over him. But he left his feet, landed on the man, and now he gives Martin a chance to score 2 from the line.
It's one thing a coach hates to see, too, when a defensive player leaves his feet.
Well, the only thing you can do once you leave your feet, Dean, is come back down. So when the offensive man knows that, he waits for you to come down, he leans into you, and he banks the shot in.
Didn't Newton say that once?
Well, he was into apples.
Whatever goes up must come down. So, from the jeers of the crowd, Martin hits the second one, 40-30, Cornell by 10. Johnson steps it down to the forecourt. And they say it went off Johnson's foot. Matt Virginik just walks up to speak to Tim Wynn. There you see him pleading his case. Ball inbounded to Carsonas. Martin, double team, spins away from it neatly. Williams played by Davis. 4.5 minutes now have passed in the second half. Cornell by 10. Cornell returns home to play Hamilton Tuesday night. Well, Marist will go up to Beantown, Boston, to play BU on Monday night. Checked away there by Davis. Wolfgang Florin, the freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana, into Martin, and Martin scores. So Martin showing he can score from the outside as well as the inside. And now Marist wants a timeout with exactly 5 minutes gone by in the second half. Cornell extends their lead to 12, and we'll be back after this message.
Announcing the greatest sound in sight. Country Music Television, the newest and best country on cable. Say hello to Dolly. The hottest video clips of the biggest stars 24 hours a day in stereo.
Keep on watching the best in country music.
Check your cable listing for the channel. For the greatest sound in sight, tune in to Country Music Television. See why our rose is blooming everywhere.
The Marist College cheerleaders with a good crowd on hand. 2,007 people. There's a view of Tom Miller's Cornell huddle. And I have to say, he has done an excellent job in coaching. While we take now a look at Matt Virginik around the hometown Red Foxes of Marist College, he's done an excellent job in coaching. His players have done an excellent job playing without their leader, Ken Banham.
Well, sometimes, Dean, you don't know how good you are until everybody has to play a little bit harder or a little bit different role. The important thing is Cornell has been able to maximize their efforts because they're getting the ball to the shooters. Derek Williams took 1 shot. That was about 2 minutes ago. He's not a scorer. He shouldn't be shooting, okay? He's only taken 1 shot. In the same amount of time, Rick Smits has had 1 shot.
Just saw one of our ball boys with our new caps, sporting the Colony Sports new baseball cap. Smits throws it away. Johnson tried to come up with it again. And now Cornell moving from right to left in this half. Martin with a head of steam up as he leaned in on Smits, a wise move, and Smits fouled him.
Again, Rick Smits had plenty of time to establish position, stay on his feet, and draw the charge. But he elected to go up in the air and challenge for the block shot. Martin goes to the line for 2 more free throw attempts.
And he's 5 of 6 tonight. Smits in his 3rd personal, each team with 3 team fouls. Drew Martin leading the team in rebounding, 5.8. And remember, he is only 6'4". He's playing well above that tonight. Second one drops. So the largest lead of the night for the Big Red, 13 points. Johnson and Egging for Marist, the backcourt. Taylor And Smith's up in the front line, and joining the backcourt is Drafton Davis, and here's a foul. Tim Wendt makes the call. He hears it a bit from the crowd. Wolfgang Florin in his first personal of the night, fourth team foul against the Big Red.
Would Wolfgang be the captain of your all-name team, Dean?
He could be. He could be. Wolfgang Florin wrestling with Smith's jump ball, and Marist gives it up on the alternate possession. Marist has just been outfought tonight, as well as outshot. Even though they did outshoot Cornell in the first half, surprisingly, 71% to 69%. Turnaround from Cartsonas, and there is Wolfgang Florin crashing. Steve Egging looks up and says, who's covering that guy? 45-30. Cornell extends its lead to 15 points. Davis will take it. What a tip by Taylor.
Tremendous effort by Teddy Taylor.
He was up in the air about 5 seconds. Bayes, as Cornell has effectively broke the press all night long. Ball is tapped out of bounds by a Marist player. Mike Fielder coming in, saw brief action in the first half. Out goes Egging. Here comes Len Palmer in for Cornell. Cartsonas checks out. 13 minutes, 51 seconds left in regulation time. 45-32 Cornell. Marist had gotten it down to 6 as they trailed by 8 at the half. Cornell is on a spurt. Wolfgang Florin following. Tip, good by Palmer. There's no way Marist should allow
just
the Big Red to
out-hustled
get
on that
inside.
play. Wolfgang had the shot. He missed. Rick Smits went flying by. Wolfgang stepped in, got it, threw it up again.
Johnson, look at this one. And it counts. Chris Johnson is playing tonight for the Marist College Red Foxes. And now he'll go back to the free throw line. Wolfgang Florin on the personal foul. And for Chris Johnson, he'll take a couple, they'll make it 1 free throw to the basket count. He was 2 for 3 from the line in the first half. He has 16 points on the night. Make it 17. Johnson, his original high this year was 16, so he's eclipsed that. Steal by Davis. 3-on-2 materializing. Taylor will grab it. Taylor throws it away. Bayes gets it down. Here's Johnson coming up with a steal. Johnson wisely holds up.
It's the experience of a senior right there, Dean. Kick it back out, set it up. Each possession is critical for the Red Foxes.
Smith.
An old story, Dean. You can't score if you don't have the ball. Get the ball to Rick Smith. He can post up anybody on the Cornell team.
There's a foul call by Tim Wendt. And they're going to call it on Fielder. For Marist, that is their 4th team foul. Matt Perjaning standing next to John Cahill. 47-37. Cornell had gotten the lead up to 15. It's now down to 10. The crowd now starting to come alive here at the McCann Center.
Now you watch Cornell be even more selective with their shots, try to take the crowd out of it, take away the momentum of the Red Foxes, and yet John Bayes took his eye off the ball and lost it. Tom Miller is concerned. Wants a timeout right now.
Sure does. And he tells John Bayes to call it. 47-37, 12:24 left regulation time. It's Cornell timeout. We'll be back after this.
Next home game will be this Wednesday.
Experience the great outdoors every Thursday and Friday at 7:30 p.m. on Cable 6.
Vitality Sports, bringing you Marist College basketball. We'll be back with you Wednesday night, January 16th, as Marist stays here at home to play Fairleigh Dickinson University. That's a conference game, an all-important one. First meeting between those two teams. And airtime on Channel 10 will be at 11 o'clock. You can see it the following night, Thursday night at 8 o'clock. Tonight's game being brought to you by Avis Rent-A-Car and Trucks in Poughkeepsie. See Jack Newman. In Newburgh, see Fred DePue. Avis tries harder, faster, and also by Kind Construction. 41 Red Oaks Mills Road, Poughkeepsie. See Jack Kind for all your building needs. It pays to call an expert. Call 462-2669.
The Fox faithful exerting the Red Foxes on now, Dean. Maybe the crowd will become a factor.
They were quiet in the first half, and the reason being, Marist did not look good in the first 20 minutes. Smits triple team. Little short passes by the Red Foxes. Taylor working down low. Johnson takes it, hacked by Williams.
It's important for the Red Foxes to get some points each trip down the court. Cornell's going to slow it down a little bit more. That eliminates the number of possessions the Red Foxes will have. Bruce Johnson forced it maybe a little bit, but he's the hot man. He's got to go to the basket and make things happen.
Mark Mullane comes in. He wears a mouthpiece. Out comes Derek Williams. And Bruce Johnson will be shooting 2 for Marist. Came into this game 85% shooter from the line. Hits that one. Second leading free throw shooter on the team. Second to Steve Egging, who shoots 92%.
It's your hat, isn't it, Dean?
It sure is. That lady took my hat. Johnson looking for the second one. 47-39. Cornell by 8. Some of the 2,000 people here at the McCann Center.
Red Fox is going to go with a half-court trap now. Cornell solved it too quick for the trap.
Marist has done well with their pressure defense here in the second half. It didn't really affect Cornell in the first half. Crowd is really getting into the game, stomping their feet, clapping their hands. Davis out there ball hawking. That's Palmer with it. Taylor looking to jump out. Fielder does. There's a long one from Martin.
I'm sure Tom Miller's not happy with that shot.
Fielder, outlet for Johnson as he hooks it down into the forecourt. Drafton Davis. Florin tipped it over in the corner to Bayes. Davis has been so cold shooting here in the last few games.
That ball went every place but in, Dean.
Did the old two-step on the rim and dropped down. 9 minutes going by in the second half. Bayes had a notion. Wolfgang Florin, he knows his shot is from closer range. 47-39, the Big Red leading the Red Foxes. Bayes. Mullane. Drew Martin, they're actually challenging him to shoot, even though he was so hot there in the first half. Martin had 14 first half points. Johnson had 14 first half points for the Red Foxes. The crowd does not like the kill tactics here. And a steal by Johnson, but he stepped on the end line when he was approaching the ball.
Great hands and body coordination by Bruce Johnson. Deflected it, falling out of bounds, flicked it back in.
Palmer. Martin backs in on Smits. Crowd wanted a charge. Bayes got caught in the air, got it off to Martin. Basket counts. John Cahill to make the call. As you see our cameras following him out to the midcourt. And they called on Mike Fielder. The basket goes down. Matt Virginia can't be too happy.
So I think that's about the 4th time that Martin has gone under the basket, raised his eyebrows, waited for the Foxes to climb up the ladder, and then jumped into him.
And Bayes really threw a bad pass. He was caught up in the air, and lucky Martin freed himself. Martin hits that one. 50-39. Cornell puts its lead back up to 11. Here's Smits with the turnaround, and he's clipped on the way up by Mullane, Mike Mullane. And Smits now goes to the free throw line first time this evening. He's shooting 57% from the line, 19 of 33. He's been in double figures 4 of his last 5 games, coming off a decent performance against LIU, 14 points and 5 rebounds and 5 block shots. His parents here from Eindhoven, Holland to see him play tonight as he hits that one. Smits was held down to 2 points in the first half. Smits looking for the second one. 10 minutes remaining in the second half.
Rick Smits only has 6 points, but I think he scored on 3 of the 4 times he's handled the ball.
You know, Marist got away with a kick right then. Davis stuck his foot out. The ball was lodged in between him and the man he was guarding, and then he was fouled on the play by Palmer, who knocked Davis off stride. And Cornell was 17 fouls on the board, so Marist shoots the 1-on-1 from here on in with 9:55 remaining in the second half. There's a close view of Drafton Davis, third team All-New York City in high school his senior year, named that by the Daily News last season. Averaged 20 points in high school.
It's a big trip to the line, both for the Red Foxes and for Drafton personally. If he can drop these in, he can get some confidence back, then he can look for the hoop a little bit more. Anytime you can put 5 offensive players on the floor, you're going to have a better chance of scoring and create more problems for the defense. That hat's getting a workout on the wet spots on the floor, Dean.
Some of the girls' basketball team from Marist College behind the one basket. Just saw them. Drafton Davis got that first one. Again, it could come down to a free throw game. 50-42. 8-point lead enjoyed by the Big Red. They have led throughout.
It does come down to a free throw contest, Dean. The advantage is to the Big Red because they have some excellent free throw shooters.
Davis wouldn't go. Taylor goes to the floor and travels. I can't understand that call.
Not when there's that much body contact and scrambling, Dean. A creative call.
It looked like he called it before he even gone down to the tartan surface to get the ball. Matt Virginik throwing the towel in disgust. This is Martin with the ball on the near hash mark.
Dean, that's the type of passes the Red Foxes want Cornell to throw, the long looping pass, the long pass. But the deep man has got to be able to get over there to pick it off or at least deflect it.
Williams for Palmer. Egging out there, guarding. As Johnson was going for a steal, but it went out of bounds off him. 9 minutes and 26 seconds.
Another problem the Red Foxes have playing this type of game is that they're only 6, maybe 7 players deep. They can't run players in and out fast enough to keep the pressure on.
Ball inbounded to Mullane. Marist can afford to give 1 foul. They have 5 team fouls. Derek Williams, double team coming up, and they call Ted Taylor on the foul. So Ted Taylor picks up the personal foul, and that's it for Marist on giving the fouls. They have 16 fouls, 3rd personal on Ted. Tonight's game being brought to you by Mid-Hudson Moving and Storage on Fulton Street in Wappingers Falls. Call Ron Dennis at 298-8701. Set up your next move. It's modern moving with old-fashioned care. Egging going for the steal. Spinning away is Bayes. Taylor poke-checking. Taylor trying to gain control. Smits looking for the tip. Oh, there's the foul by Egging.
Not a bad foul in the sense that everybody was under the basket, and the only player coming out of the pack was John Bayes. Make him go to the line and score 2 from 15 feet as opposed to a breakaway layup.
Bayes shoots 77% from the line.
You can just feel the Red Fox's frustration.
Right.
Teddy Taylor up there and just hoping it would go in instead of shooting it in. Rick Smits couldn't get one of his big mitts on it. Taylor couldn't get the handle on it, and Bayes comes out of the pack with it.
Bayes has taken 1 tonight and hit it. Now he's 2 for 2. Tonight's game being brought to you by Terry Buick on South Road across from the IBM Country Club. Stop by and see Terry's large assortment of new and used cars. Terry Buick, we're people that people trust. And Bayes hits both. Puts Cornell back out in front by 10. They had gotten the lead to 15. Marist whittled it down. They did lead at halftime by a 35-27 count. Johnson unmolested. Taylor looking for the tip. Ball comes loose on the end line, and they say last touch by Marist. Marist has had its chances, just can't hold on that round ball.
Can't find the basket in the second half, team.
Tom Miller has been up the whole game, pacing the near sideline. Egging not too quick to get out there and try and steal that ball.
I think he hesitated just for a fraction of a second.
Fatigue factor starting to set in now, too. They're leaving Bayes open in the left corner. Dangerous passing. Bayes pumped, got Taylor in the air, and then moved it away. Martin for Williams, 8 minutes remaining. 52-42, Cornell by 10. Bayes bumping with Taylor, and another foul, and Tim Wynn is keeping a close eye on him because Taylor already has one technical foul. Now Wynn tells Egging to quiet down a bit. 1-on-1 situation. Shamley coming back in, and Taylor will be taken out as that is his 4th personal. So Bayes, who is 3 for 3 from the free throw line to go along with his 6 field goals, that gives him 15 points on the night. Came in averaging 13.8, coming off the 18-point performance in the loss to Canisius Wednesday night. He just flicks it up there.
It's a nice, smooth shooting form. There's an entire ritual here that he goes through. He wipes the sneakers, he rubs the pants, he spits on his fingers. Now, why you'd rub your sneaker and spit on your fingers, I'm not sure, but he hasn't missed yet, so we'll defer to him.
That's right. Bayes extends Cornell's lead to 12. Smits with the half hook.
The Big Dipper.
Smits makes it 54-44. Davis in the steal and then throws it back into the hands of Martin. Martin has it, now wants his Big Red teammates to set up in their offensive pattern. 7.5 minutes remaining. That's Martin, double team. Bayes down low for Florin. He's going against the big guy and wisely gets rid of it.
Notice that time because Smits didn't leave his feet. Florin had nothing to do. He's not going to shoot over him.
So he did learn in this contest to stay on his feet. Bayes had a no-shoot again. Marist will want to stay away from fouling him. Again, the crowd booing in the background. They do not like the kill tactics of Cornell. Bayes scores again.
That kid's an excellent ball player, Dean.
And Bayes puts 2 more on the board for the Big Red. 56-44. Cornell over Marist with 6 minutes, 44 seconds remaining. We'll be back after this pause.
In January, takes you to the stars in movies like Sudden Impact with Clint Eastwood and Broadway Danny Rose with Woody Allen. In original shows like Time Slip, a futuristic thriller. In the music of Duran Duran, Blue Silver. In the comedy of Richard Belzer. More than 70 shows in January alone.
To order Cinemax, call Cablevision today.
We are Cinemax. We take you to the stars.
Marist College basketball being brought to you tonight by Pauling Savings Bank with locations in the Apple Valley Shopping Center on Route 9 in Fishkill as well. For the best rates and free checking, see Pauling Savings Bank, the Step Ahead Bank. And also being brought to you this evening by the Rustler Steakhouse on Route 9 in Poughkeepsie. You'll always get a value at the Rustler Steakhouse. 6 minutes, 44 seconds remaining. Second half. Second half has been much more exciting than the first half there.
Well, one of the reasons for that, Dean, is the Red Foxes are exerting a little bit more pressure on Cornell. They're solving it. They're going to the basket, and you get a lot more possessions. Again, it's important for the Red Foxes to get the ball to Smits, but to follow up on the shots. They can't afford to go down the court and not get something out of it.
Davis brings it down court, and then he jumps it up. Egging fighting inside and was stripped. Here comes the Big Red. Ahead of the pack is Williams. Off for Martin, who lost the handle. And wisely, Cornell will pull it back out. Davis cannot buy a bucket in the last few games. Shooting a woeful 38% from the field. Bruce Johnson has not seen the ball much here in the last 10 minutes. Davis on the foul, his second. And Len Palmer will go to the line. Palmer, out of the starting 5, is the worst free throw shooter, 60%. And Palmer tonight has hit all 4 of his attempts. 4 for 4. Palmer on the year averaging 4.6. Smits fighting with Florin. Oh, and they say that...
No, he called it white. He just didn't signal down the court.
I was going to say, how could that be? So Florin touches it last, and Marist has it moving left to right. Johnson says, hey, give me the ball. I feel I can do something with it. He forces that one, and it goes. So Johnson shooting from about 18 feet out. Here comes the Big Red moving down court. They enjoy a 10-point lead. Johnson trying to steal. Davis coming over in the defensive help. 2-shot foul as Egging came over and fouled Palmer. Matt Virginia just waves at John Cahill. Interesting 2-shot foul with 5:42 remaining in the game.
Well, I think the reason he called that 2-shot foul is because he noticed that Steve Egging was about a step late on the foul. What else could he call it? It was a deliberate foul. The ball had been released. He couldn't have been going for the ball. It was just too late with the foul.
So Palmer goes back to the line and cans this one after missing one just seconds ago. 57-46. 11-point lead for the Big Red. Second one is good. And Cordell has the 12-point advantage. There's Steve Egging. Not too happy. He's been shut down tonight effectively by the man defense. Smits. Just one go. That's his shot, though. 5.5 minutes remaining. The freshman from Fort Wayne, Indiana, Wolfgang Loren. Honorable mention All-State player in the state of Indiana. Bayes did not see the ball coming until last second. Tom Miller says, hey, give me a 2-shot foul. I believe they're going to call 1-1. I heard Al McGuire talking on the Villanova-Georgetown game today. He said, I used to start yelling with about 10 minutes left of the game. 2-shot foul, 2-shot foul in the official's ear. Says it worked most of the time.
It doesn't hurt to plant the seed.
That's what Tom Miller was just doing, but to no avail. 1-1 situation coming up next, but we have a commercial. We'll be back after this.
Live exclusive coverage of over half the Islanders games this season. Games you can see only on Sports Channel. So don't miss half of Mike Bossy. And Sports Channel has live exclusive coverage of over half the Nets games. Games that aren't on ordinary TV. So don't miss half of Darryl Dawkins. Call now and catch all the action on Sports Channel.
Matt Virginia talking with his players with 5 minutes and 11 seconds remaining in regulation time. 58-46, Cornell leading Marist in the first ever meeting between the two teams. Tonight's game being brought to you by Budweiser, distributed with pride by Dutchess Beer in Poughkeepsie and Kingston. For all you do, this Bud is for you. John Cahill saying, let's go, Tom Miller, let's break your huddle and get your players out there.
Well, the officials always say that, Dean, because they don't get paid by the hour. They get a flat fee.
That's right.
Let's go. Let's get out of here. Get a bite. Go home.
That's right. Get a bite, right. Have a soda.
Ah, whatever.
Just as I was reading this Bud's for you. John Bayes was the man that was fouled.
Here we go again. He wipes the shoes.
He does. All kinds of antics. Bayes will just push it up there. Very rarely hits the rim with any kind of a shot.
Without being facetious, Dean, that's how you can tell a great shooter from a good shooter. The great shooters, nothing but net. The good shooters, rattle them around. They all count, but the great shooters, right on target.
60-46. Cornell has the lead back up to 14. Their original lead of 15 was seen there with 5 minutes going by in the second half. And Marist got it down. Here's Johnson with points 22 and 23. And for Bruce Johnson, he has just tied his career high. That was set last year against Robert Morris.
He's edging ever closer to the coveted 1,000-point plateau.
Bruce coming in, needing just 78 points for 1,000 in his career. And he is mugged on the way to the basket. Fielder fouling Palmer. Palmer, who's been to the line frequently in the last few minutes, goes back there. Both teams coming off losses, so Tom Miller would love to go back to Ithaca tonight with a big win under his belt. Cornell edging towards that 500 mark. They're 4-6, while Marist is just 2 games away from 500. They're 5-7.
If the Big Red prevails, it'd be their first road victory, too. I always like to get one on the road before you open your conference victory. Second, you had your finger over the one.
They beat Colgate earlier in the year. Cornell opened up well this year, winning 3 of their first 4, but then they went to the Rainbow Classic and they lost 3 straight. Here's Johnson, 62-48. Johnson going inside and spinning home, and he has a new career high of 25 points, and the anguish on the face of Tom Miller.
I think the expression is he ate Martin's lunch on that one, Dean.
Davis riding Williams down court, and Tim Wendt makes the call. And for Davis, that should be his 4th personal foul.
Everything's always all right with drafting Davis. What a contrast between Steve Egging. Every time the whistle blows and Steve's involved, he can't believe it. Drafted, hey, everything's cool, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Okay, coach.
Yeah. Williams no good, and Fielder will snare the rebound. Marist trailing by 12. They have the ball. 4 minutes remaining. You can see Davis moving inside. That won't go. Ball goes to the floor, and here's a break as Williams trying to corral the ball under the basket. The crowd wanted travel. Davis checking. He has 4 fouls. Fielder. Wolfgang Florin. That's what's going to happen when you're playing this swarming defense. Somebody's going to free up.
Well, you have to gamble.
Sure. 64-50. Johnson end-to-end. Block call on Wolfgang Florin.
Bruce Johnson playing with a vengeance. I think he is a little bit perturbed at his teammates when they came out sluggish, and he's going to try to do it all by himself.
Tom Miller, who played at West Point from 1966 to 1970, played on 3 consecutive NIT teams and also on those great defenses, Bobby Knights, that led the nation in defense 68 through 70. In fact, he played on the Army team that had the most wins in one season. He went 22-6 his senior year. Bruce Johnson with 25 points under his belt tonight, make it 26. Bruce 10 times in double figures this year. This will be the 2nd time he's led the team in scoring. He had a 5-game streak at double figures stopped of a 5-game figure the other night against LIU when he was held to 6 points. Cornell by 12. 3:18 remaining. Palmer marches it down for Bayes. Now back to Derek Williams. Williams is not the scorer. He just controls that ball, moves the offense, and done that very well tonight. Shamley against Martin on the double team comes Taylor. Palmer, 3 minutes remaining. Here's where the ball skills come into effect. And the poke check by Shamley picked up by Johnson. Johnson down court, working in against Bayes. Shamley getting it. Good fight inside by Shamley and the foul.
Good effort by Mark Shamley. He was able to get one hand onto it, and then he got the second hand so he could muscle it up.
Just saw Matt Virginik looking down on the sheet of John Quattrochi, one of the assistant coaches. And now Tom Miller signals for his team to take a timeout. We have 2 minutes, 40 seconds remaining regulation time. 64-52, Cornell leads Marist. We'll be back after this.
There's a new way for your whole family to discover the wholesome quality of Disney entertainment, the Disney Channel. Everything you remembered and loved is now on the Disney Channel, and much more. There are new programs specially created by Disney just for the Disney Channel. And new Disney movies you can't even see in the theater. For wonderful family entertainment, subscribe now. The Disney Channel. Everything you loved about Disney and more.
One of the people here at the McCann Center. 2,007 people on hand to see this game tonight. Tonight's game being brought to you by Friendly Pontiac, GMC Isuzu on 639 South Road, Route 9, Poughkeepsie. Come in now and save $500 on 1985 Pontiac Fieros in stock, America's first and only mid-engine production car. Friendly Pontiac, earning loyalty through satisfaction. 2 minutes, 40 seconds remaining.
Dean, that timeout by Tom Miller, we may see Cornell go to the no-shot offense now. Under 3 minutes, 12-point lead. There'll be 2 free throws by Mark Shamley. Even if he makes both, Cornell will have a 10-point lead with only 2 minutes and 40 seconds to go.
You see Tim Murphy in there now. Obviously, he's in there to give up a foul.
Yeah, the Red Foxes in a little bit of foul trouble. Taylor and Shamley both having 4.
And Davis.
And Davis also.
Shamley hits that one.
I'm not sure why Tim Murphy's so far away from the ball. They're not going to throw it deep.
He's not used to being in the game.
Well, if he's in there to give up the foul, he's got to get to where the ball is.
You're right. Maybe it's when they come down for it. Now he comes up quickly now as Shamley hits the second one. 10-point lead for Cornell. Moving down is Williams. Murphy. There's Martin falling down. And getting it is Wolfgang Florin. I tell you, he's one of these guys that's always in the right spot. Johnson going inside. Shamley skying. One drop. Here's a 3-on-none break. Martin ahead. 68-54. 2 minutes remaining. Tom Miller still into that game coaching from the sideline. Taylor's shot wouldn't go. His 2 bodies come together, crashing. Ted Taylor on the foul, and Ted has just fouled out.
Frustrating night for Teddy Taylor. Seems like every time there was contact and he was involved, he got called for it. A couple were of his instigation, but he didn't agree with any of them. He gave Tim Wentz an earful early in the game. Teddy was not very effective for the Red Foxes tonight.
Teddy leaves with just 5 points this evening, coming off the good performance against LIU, 13 points and 17 rebounds. Ted still hasn't left the court.
Matt Frajanic's taking all the time allotted to him. He's hoping to ice the free throw shooter.
John Bayes will be the man that will be shooting. Some of the crowd beginning to file out of the McCann Center. Next time we're back with you Wednesday night, January 16th. Marist hosting Fairleigh Dickinson University. And we'll be on the air 11 o'clock Wednesday night. Channel 10, Colony Sports. And also next Saturday night, Marist hitting the road for the first live game ever. Marist going down to Baltimore to play Loyola. And you can see the game here on Channel 10 at 7:30. That is Marist and Loyola, Saturday, January 19th, a week from tonight at 7:30 here on Channel 10. The bench of the Marist College Red Foxes as Bayes hits the first one. Second one is good. And now the largest lead of the night for the Big Red. They lead by 16, 70-54. Davis in for Shamley. Kartsonis has got in. He lost his handle, and Shamley comes back. Egging now jumping up. It rolls in a foul call. John Cahill to make that call.
Good second and third effort by the Red Foxes. I'm afraid it's a little bit too late. It's important now for the Red Foxes to stay in it, stay together, and try to chip away at the lead. And it's important for Matt Frajanik to retain control of the team. It's a frustrating game for the Red Foxes, but you don't want it to fester and carry over to Monday night's game.
This is definitely one of the problems of Steve Egging when he goes against the man defense. He now has 5 points on the night, comes in averaging 14 a game. Errant pass, and Marist will get it on the end line underneath the basket. So 1:40 remaining, and Tom Miller wants to take a timeout as he's signaling for his boys to call it. Now they get the whistle, but we'll stay with you. And Cornell leading 70 to 57. We'd like to remind you once again, tonight's game being brought to you by Budweiser, distributed with pride by Duchess Beer in Poughkeepsie and Kingston. For all you do, this Bud's for you. Marist College huddle. See our Colony Sports banner up there, and some of the people at the McCann Center. Again, the official attendance tonight just over 2,007 people as Marist came into this game averaging 2,142. But again, they're 32% ahead of their 5-game figure of last year. Tom Miller just wanted to get his team set, didn't want any more of those errant passes that just occurred.
As I said before, Dean, it's important for coaches to maintain control of their kids. Tom Miller does, and Matt Perjanik both, don't want their kids to think that at any time, anywhere, sloppiness is permitted.
Ball inbounded, knocked away, and Marist again will get another shot at it. Again, some more perspiration on the court. John Cahill is set to hand the ball to Steve Agee. Into Johnson. He has been the main thrust on offense for Marist tonight. Here's Shamley. It's just been one of those nights for Shamley. And the whole Marist team, in fact. Tim Murphy getting back into the game. Here comes Davis out. Full court press by the Marist College Red Foxes. And we have a violation.
Can only move side to side when a basket has been scored, Dean. That time it was a turnover by Mark Shamley when he lost control. Therefore, Cornell is only allowed one step.
He did the Lido shuffle there. There's Tom Miller.
I'm not going to ask you who Lido. He's probably the guy that made those hats.
That was a song. And now two officials are conferring.
Well, maybe Congress will be in session here and they'll legislate some sort of creative call.
Tom Miller says, what's the deal? Matt Perjanik wants to know what's going on.
Tom Miller was over the line, but the officials weren't looking.
Ball inbounded to Agee. Takes his jumper. And now Matt Perjanik wants to take a timeout. With a minute and 29 seconds remaining, Marist trailing by 11, 70 to 59. Yeah, I was doing some homework today, and I looked when Marist is in double figures, when they have at least 4 players in double figures, their record is 4-2 when that happens. And tonight, all you've seen is really Bruce Johnson scoring for the Marist College Red Foxes.
Well, as you said earlier, Dean, the Red Foxes are a 6, maybe a 7-man team. But they don't have one proven scorer. In the past, they've had a Steve Smith. You plug him in for 20 and the other guys fill in. Red Foxes don't have that on this year's team. This is an unusual occasion for Bruce Johnson to go over the 20-point mark. So you have to look for 4 or 5 guys around that 15-point mark. And when you play a team with a good pressure man-to-man, that pretty much takes Steve Agee out of the lineup. Therefore, Mark Shamley's got to chip in. Drafton Davis has got to score. If Drafton's in a slump, that's what happened against LIU. Bruce Johnson had an off night. Drafton Davis is in a slump, and Mark Shamley didn't play well. And they're not going to beat a 5-man team like LIU with only 3.
And looking at Mike Terwilliger's score sheet here, Marist has only 1 person in double figures. Bruce Johnson's 27 points. Shamley has 9, and Smits has 8.
That was Tim Murphy on the foul, Dean. As we said, Matt Perjanik putting him in for Drafton Davis. Drafton has 4 fouls. Tim Murphy had no fouls until that time. He could afford to give up 1. He fouled, Derek Williams, who's had 1 floor shot for the night. And I think this is his 2nd trip to the line.
Williams going to the line, as you're right, 2nd time. And he drops through, missed his first opportunity. 71-59. I hope Rick Smith's parents stay in town until Wednesday so they can see a better game. Agee pulls it down. Johnson pushing it up court. Got to score points. They can't dribble too much. Here's Smits with a turnaround jumper. Drew Martin, double teamed, jump ball, and it will be
Red Foxes will
Red Fox
get the possession. Good play by Steve Egging.
It's Tom Miller.
He could be on the all-facial team. He's got
learned
tremendous
well.
contortions.
He learned well from his mentor, Bobby Knight. That's just the kind of game it's been for Marist.
And it goes right back to Cornell. I mean, that was all very interesting, but he doesn't get the ball closer to or into the basket.
Tom Miller getting into a bit of an altercation with some of the fans here at the McCann Center. So it has taken eternity to finish this game. We have 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining. Drew Martin moves to the forecourt and then throws it behind Bayes and out of bounds.
Dean, on that, Martin and Bayes were going in the same direction, and for whatever reason, Martin threw it to where Bayes was. He's got to lead the man so he can run to the ball.
I think Martin might be a bit tired. Here's Egging. Coming out of it is Bayes, and then he draws the foul. So we will march it all the way down the other end. Egging on the foul. Egging picks up his 3rd personal. Marist moving on to the road. In fact, tomorrow they'll leave and go up to Boston to play the Terriers of Boston University, and then return home on Wednesday night to host conference foe Fairleigh Dickinson University. Wednesday night. Come on out to the game. It's an 8 o'clock start. Bayes hitting that one.
You'll probably see young players all over the Hudson Valley wiping their sneakers, stubbing their toe, blowing on their fingers. This guy's a great shooter, Dean.
He's a great free throw shooter, I'll tell you that.
It's tough to get hot in Ithaca, New York, but he's managed.
Bayes with 11 free throws made. Johnson going inside. Williams looking to break on the right. He has Bayes. Bayes hauls it out with 40 ticks left on the clock. 73-59, 14-point advantage by the Big Red. Palmer, cross-court passes. Bayes for Palmer, 25 seconds remaining. Egging on the foul. 1-on-1 situation, says John Cahill. So, Mr. Len Palmer, one of the tri-captains of the team. According to his coach, he's the top defensive player on the team. Rick Smits. Drew Martin trying to come up with a steal as Davis comes down. Davis could not buy a basket tonight. Smits fighting inside. One of his rare baskets inside. And they call the deflection off Marist. I can say the McCann Center has not been very happy with the officiating tonight. But that has not beaten the Red Foxes by any thought. 73-61 is the score. Well inbounded to Palmer, to Cart Sonis. He moves it down court. And that will do it as Bayes just dribbles the clock out. Cornell comes into town and pulls off a very convincing win over the Red Foxes of Marist College. And the final score, Cornell 73, Marist 61. That will do it. We'll be back after this.
We cover the world of business. We're the Financial News Network. From Wall Street to the West, FNN means business news, stock news, and commodities. We'll bring you interviews from leading experts in business and finance. And we feature both the New York and American Stock Exchange ticker tapes. FNN, for those wanting to know the who, what, when, where, and why, tune to FNN, Monday through Friday.
We're back here at the McCann Center. Dean Darling along with Dick Quinn, the final 73-61. And as I look here at the score sheet, an amazing game for a couple of the Cornell players. Leading the scoring was John Bayes. He had 25 points, and of those 25 points, he hit 11 of 11 from the free throw line, Mr. Quinn. You said that every young kid in the Hudson Valley is going to emulate him from now on.
Whatever works. You know, he wipes each sneaker, and then he stubs his right toe 3 times on his way to the line. He flexes the legs, he blows on his fingers, and nothing but net. The kid is a great shooter. As I said before, it's tough to be hot in Ithaca, New York. I don't think he hit the rim all night.
Drew Martin had a total of 23 points. He led his team in scoring at halftime. He had a total of 14, so he gets 9 of the second half. And then the other scores, Len Palmer had 10 for Cornell. Wolfgang Florin, who played a tremendous game, a real heady game, had 6 points. Derek Williams with just a point on a free throw attempt. And Dean Kartsonis, who came off the bench and played well, had 6 points. Again, 4 of those coming on free throw attempts. For Marist, all-time career high for Mr. Bruce Johnson, 27 points. And, you know, Bruce was about the only player out there tonight for the Marist College Red Fox team.
Well, Bruce was hot early, and when he feels it, he's going to take it to the basket. Unfortunately, the rest of the Red Fox offense couldn't get in gear. In the first half, Ted Taylor and Rick Smits had 2 shots between them. They made both of them, but that's not enough. I think the key to the game was that Cornell got ahead early. They knew they didn't have their big man. They maximized their offensive opportunities. The Red Foxes were a little bit sloppy. They fell behind, and the Cornell offense of being deliberate is much like the wishbone offense in football. It's great when you're ahead, but it's tough to come back when you get behind. The Red Foxes are going to have to show that they can play that style of ball better than they have against St. Peter's, better than they have against Cornell, because this is the type of game that Loyola Maryland plays. They don't start Mo Hicks, but when they bring him off the bench, it goes 4 corners, kick it around, let's get the defense to fall asleep, and then bang inside for the quick basket. And Loyola also is a great foul shooting team. So it's important in a game like this to get ahead early and make the other team play the Red Foxes game. Now, if Cornell had been behind 9-4, it would have been a blowout by the Red Foxes. Unfortunately, Cornell got the early lead. They shot probably 6 of their first 8, and they maintained the lead. The Red Foxes were not able to pressure them into turning the ball over enough. Smits, Taylor were taken out of the offense, and by the time the Red Foxes got going on offense, those guys were forgotten.
Rick Smits had only 10 points. He was the second man in double figures for the